Hello guys, welcome to my another video. So today I came up with actually a very, how should I say, like a very disgusting type of question for you, the uses of comma, and I'm sure you will start vomiting like or what, because this question when I first answered I was like, what, real? Yeah, that's how you will feel like here, and I'm sure that's how you will. So let's not spoil everything. Let's start with the main topic now. So today our question is about English poet Shakespeare. Let's see what do we have here about him. English poet Shakespeare, contemporary John Donne, dash much admired. There is like works and so on and so forth. John Donne's works, much admired during his lifetime and in the decades that followed, had at the time of the enthusiastic rediscovery by the early 20th century modernists been essentially gathering dust for the intervening 250 years. And I am completely sure whatever I have read here, you didn't understand anything. I know that you don't understand anything because that's how they have written this passage. But that's why I'm here for you, right? What do we have always said in our notes? If you see prepositions, if you see punctuation a lot of times, look at those because that's what they're looking for here. So what do we see in this question? In this question, if I were to say like use the words and check this, you can try, but I am telling you that's not how it will work because this one is that's really awkward. So let's see what this punctuation here. Where are these punctuations? Let's dart those. Here is the first punctuation. Here is the second one. Here is another one. Do you have more? No, that's it. Let's cool down now. Let's see. What do we know about punctuations? If we see a line within commas, within two commas, that line is going to be unnecessary, right? So, how many lines do you see here within commas? Had, that's a word within commas. At that time, blah 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 blah. More than is. This whole line is also within commas. So, now what is the question is? Are both of these lines are unnecessary? No, not both of these. How do I know? Because I already answered that. That's why. That's okay. That's not explanation I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you like a better one, obviously. So let's see how this question can be written. What they want us to check: works where, right? Works where, works had been. These are the four options that we have been given. English poet Shakespeare, contemporary John Donne's works were much admired during his lifetime. Number A, it works perfectly, right? It does work perfectly. But let's see what happens after that. Because what do we see here? There is an and, our main enemy. Because what did I say always about and? Whenever you see and commas, they always want to say the same thing. The same thing is going to happen before and after and. So that's what you're going to do here. If you see a lot of commas, I guess you can understand what I'm going to try to say. I guess you can tell, but still we are going to tell. If still we are going to check. English poet Shakespeare and contemporary and John Donne's works much admired during his lifetime and in the decades that followed had, at the time of the interesting blah 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 blah, been essentially gathering dust for intervening 250 years. As you can see, we can just go from had to been directly, right? Which means at that time blah 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 modernist. We can cut this line. So that's how I found a spatial line which is unnecessary. So now I'm going to cut this unnecessary line. Okay, unnecessary line, modernist. Perfect. Now read this line again. Using where works perfectly, but the question is, in the decades that followed, comma had been. So in order to use this part here, been essentially gathering, you see been essentially gathering this part, you must use this word had. Okay, yes, you must use this word had. So as we can see, this had is a very necessary part in order to complete this been essentially part, been essentially sentence. So how does it look like now? John Donne's much admired during his lifetime and in the decades that followed had been essentially. So for this part, if we are going to use like commas, if you see like in this way that I have been always telling you, like if you see a word or sentence within commas, that's going to be unnecessary. But what do we see here? We see had is going to be necessary and it's the most necessary part in this sentence. That means we can't just leave had. We cannot leave had alone. So what do we have to do? We have to do something that can make this had essential, look essential. So what can we do? Can we cut the comma? No, we can't cut the comma. They didn't give us this option. So what can we do? We can do something more. Sorry. Yeah, we can do something more. What about if we were to use another comma within this part? This is starting from followed. I mean, not free starting like ending with followed and it's starting from English. What if I put a random comma in here and make this a random sentence unnecessary, which will make it had necessary part, and at that time, modernist will make unnecessary. You see, that's how I can tell. Since I have to make, I'm repeating this again, since I have to make had necessary, I have to make this sentence before had unnecessary. It has to be anything, right? Anything, I'm saying anything. So what do we have here? So in order to make this sentence unnecessary, we have only one option. We have to use something in this dash that will make this sentence unnecessary. That means we have to use a words or a couple of words which has commas in them. That means in option A that doesn't have a comma, although they work perfectly well with their meaning, we can't use that because of commas. Same goes for option D. We can use this either because it doesn't have any comma. So I hope you get that why how I chose these two answers. And yeah, it was complicated. So now we have been left with option B and C. Okay, now a lot of may think, oh yeah, words where there's no way a comma can sit within a subject and verb, which means number B is also wrong. But yeah, you're wrong. Not number B is wrong, but you are wrong. It can happen. For commas, anything commas can sit anywhere they want if you can use it perfectly. So let's see what can we do here. Maybe C might be also right. B might be right. Who knows? Let's see here. Sorry about this one. This is being automatic. I didn't see. Yeah, here. So John Donne's works were much. So for this one, let's use this. Let's input this option B and C into the dash, and let's see what happens. For this part, explanation Shakespeare contemporary on John's works, comma, were much admired during his lifetime and in the decades that followed, comma. What do we see here? If I were to use comma before where, which means this whole starting from where, this part is completely unnecessary. So what happens? We can cut this whole line if I were to use comma here, which means this whole line is unnecessary. That's how it is. So as you can see, where much admired, this whole part gets cut off from there. I guess I should clear this up a little bit. Then start explaining again. Right? Yeah, now I'm doing it. It's gone clear, 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 clear. Yeah, now it's clear. Yeah, now it's clear again. So the thing is, if I were to use if I were to use works, and there is a comma, that means using starting from where much admired blah 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 blah, this whole line is going to be cut right away because these are unnecessary within a commas that followed. So how does the sentence structure look like now? English poet Shakespeare's contemporary John Donne's works had cut been essentially gathering dust for the intervening 250 years. It perfectly works, right? It perfectly works. Now, but we still have option C, right? Yes, we still have option C. Let's look at that. How does option C work? English poet Shakespeare's contemporary John Donne's works, much admired during his lifetime and the decades that followed, perfectly works perfectly because you see before and after and there is only one form of verb which is followed verb two or verb three, so verb two, and it makes perfectly sense. And because they get cut, so it doesn't matter. Works had cut, everything is cut from here, had been essentially gathering dust for intervening 250 years. Perfectly works. Now the question is why wouldn't be work? Because if you see the verb after and which is only followed verb 2, you can use where admired here because where admired is a passive form of verb. But since after the word and there is only verb 2, not a passive word, you cannot use where here. And only for this reason this where part gets cut. That's why our A, B, and D options are wrong, and ultimately leaving only option C as the right answer. That's it. And yes, here it is, your favorite college board question answer. I hope it will help you a lot. I know that question was critical, hard a little bit, but yeah, that's what it is. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. If you like it, give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. See you in the next one.